Basic drum grooves. Okay, so now we're getting on to our basic quarter note drum pattern, drum groove, and eighth note drum groove. So this is getting up into kind of the drum patterns and stuff that you'll hear on so many records. So much music has just these two patterns. So let's get into this. So straight away we're going to look at the quarter note drum groove. So taking from what we've done from the note value exercises, where we had our 1, 2, 3, 4, what we're now going to do is we're going to take the right hand, instead of being on the snare drum, and bring it over to the hi-hat. And we're going to begin by doing that same count, but just on the hi-hat. And remembering, we're just trying to keep a little bit of weight on this left foot so that we've got the nice closed hi-hats. So we're going to do that count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what we want to try and do as well is keep a nice closed hi-hat, and we want to hit the hi-hat kind of on the edge here with this section of the stick, the shaft of the stick. We've got the tip of the stick here. There's lots and lots of different sounds that we can get out of the cymbals, which I will go into more detail on. But just to begin with, just try and concentrate on this section of the stick and hitting it on the very edge of the hi-hat. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cross our left hand underneath our right hand, and this is going to play what we call the backbeats. And these are going to land when we count to 2 and 4. And these are going to land at exactly the same time as with the right hand on the hi-hat, or this is what we're going to try and do. So every time we do our count to 2 and to 4, we want to play both hands together simultaneously. So that'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, paying attention to trying to hit the snare drum in the center and not leave the stick on the head. Nice solid hits. So again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our backbeats. They're called backbeats because they're kind of at the back of the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And now the last piece of this little puzzle is the bass drum, which we're going to place when we count beats 1 and 3. And again, we want this to land exactly at the same time as the hi-hat. So I advise with this to get your count going, a couple of bars, and then try and add the bass drum on 1 and 3. Or alternatively, just try and add the bass drum first without the snare drum. So let's try that. We'll take the snare drum away and we'll do our count, and we're going to try and place the bass drum on 1 and 3. We'll do a bar without first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Once you've got the hang of that, just trying to put the two together. So we'll do a bar with just the snare drum and the hi-hat on 2 and 4, and then we'll try and add the bass drum. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. If you want to simplify this even more in terms of the count, it's good to count to 4 because we're dealing in 4/4, but you can split it even more simply by it just being 2 different things. Beat 1 and beat 2. So beat 1 being the bass drum and the hi-hat. That's beat 1. Beat 2, beat 2, snare drum and hi-hat. That's all that's happening. We're just going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay? That is your quarter note drum groove.